Assalamualaikum to my dear lecturer, Madam Siti Mariam binti Ali. We would like to present the title of Inflation and Unemployment Macroeconomic Problem in Indonesia. First of all, I would like to introduce myself and my group members. My name is DANISH bin SAHIMAN. On my right in Nur Muhammad AIDIEL bin JEFRI, then Muhammad AMIR Ashraf bin Kamali. Below that is Muhammad HAKIM bin ZALANI, and the last is NINNAIM bin NASARUDIN. DANISH bin SAHIMAN is my name. I like to start the introduction by going over Indonesia's historical background. The Dutch East Indies was the previous name for Indonesia. Indonesia is a nation situated in the Indian and Pacific Ocean off the coast of the continent of Southeast Asia. It is thought that the word Indonesia comes from the Greek words Indos, which mean India, and Nissos, which mean island. However, the name Indonesia was not officially used the nation attained independence. The research also shows that as of July 2024, there will be 279.8 million people living in Indonesia. There has been a growth of 0.82 or an increase of 2 million individuals in the last year. Indonesia is the world for the most populous nation. 55% of Indonesian population is on the island of Java, making it the most populated place on earth. Additionally, Indonesia's 7th president is Joko Widodo, popularly known as Jokowi. Jokowi's term as president expires in 2024, and a new president will take office following election in that year.
Hello, my name is NINNAIM. I'm going to talk about culture of Indonesia. As you know, culture in Indonesia is so various because of the colonial and immigrant influence as well as its indigenous tradition from various countries such as a Portuguese trader to the Dutch colonials to Chinese, Indian and Malay settlers. Besides that, Indonesia also have a various of religion such as Hinduism, Buddhism, Confucianism and Christianity. But the largest religion in Indonesia is an Islamic religion. Not to forget, the main language for Indonesia is Malay language, known as Bahasa Indonesia. But due to Indonesia have a numerous island, most people tend to speak the regional dialect for their island or communities such as Javanese and Balinese.
Hi, my name is Nur Muhammad AIDIEL bin JEFRI, and I will explain about agriculture of Indonesia. Indonesia is a major global producer of a wide variety of agriculture tropical products. Besides, the country is the world's biggest nickel producer and has become a major exporter of stainless steel. Indonesia's land area used for agriculture has been growing and is currently around 30%. Other than that, both major commercial and state-owned plantations and smallholder production methods make up Indonesia's agriculture economy. Littleholder farmers concentrate on growing rice, soybeans, maize, fruits, and vegetables, whereas large plantations typically concentrate on commodities that are significant export, such as rubber and palm oil. The most important agriculture products of Indonesia are palm oil, rubber, cocoa, coffee, tea, and rice.
For tourism in Indonesia, in 8 years, Indonesia tourism sectors experienced substantial growth and transformation. The government promoted new tourist spots like Mandalika and Labuan Bajo to diversify tourism beyond Bali. Significant infrastructure upgrades, including improved airports and roads, facilitate easier travel. Tourist number grew until the COVID-19 pandemic caused a decline in 2020 to 2021. But recovery began by 2021 with a renewed focus on sustainable and cultural tourism. Before COVID-19, tourist numbers were rising. Tourist number grew steadily from 2017 to 2019, reaching over 60 million in 2019. Despite challenges such as balancing development with environmental protection and ensuring benefits for local communities, the tourism sector became more resilient and diversified, contributing significantly to the national economy.
Hello, my name is AMIR. Now I want to tell you about economy of Indonesia. The GDP of Indonesia is estimated to be about $940.9 billion in 2016, making it the largest economy in the Southeast Asia and the 16th largest in the world, with 45% of local workers employed in the service industry in 2014. The sector ranked as Indonesia's largest employer, up from only 30% from in 1990. In the middle of 20th century, Indonesia has had a minor impact on global economic affairs, and its importance has been far lower than its size, resources, and location would seem to indicate. The nation exports a significant amount of natural gas and crude oil. Furthermore, Indonesia produces a vast array of other goods, including sugar, tea, tobacco, copra, and spices such as cloves, and is one of the world's primary producers of rubber, coffee, cocoa, and palm oil. There are 4 types of primary sectors in Indonesia. The first one is natural resources, the second is manufacturing, and the third one is services, and the last one is agriculture. Okay, next for the definition of inflation. An economic average or aggregate price level of goods and services rising steadily over time is referred to as inflation. Reduced purchasing power due to rising living expense is implied by inflation. A common cause of variation in inflation is shift in the actual demand for goods and services. A consumer pricing index, monthly or annual data, is used to assess inflation. The cost living index or consumer price index gets its name from variation in the average cost of product and services for consumers. There are examples of Indonesia inflation rate.
Then we go into the several kind of inflation that can happen in Indonesia. The first is the pull inflation demand. This is the outcome of Indonesia's economy growing so quickly. This is due to the rising demand for commodities. Frequently, manufacturing business investment or household consumption contribute to this expansion. For instance, the graph illustrates the third stage of the AD transition, which aggregate demand to AD5, which drive a sharp increase in the price to P3. Additional rises from AD to AD6 caused the price level to rise dramatically once more. All the way to P4, it goes on because resources are being completely utilized, and when the industry is unable to reach to AD, prices will start to climb quickly. As a result, the Indonesian economy is expanding so quickly that demand is drowned the inflation due to excess demand, which raises prices and causes inflation in Indonesia. Furthermore, cost-push inflation happens in Indonesia when the economy as a whole experiences an increase in price as a result of higher production costs and lower supply. This kind of inflation is frequently caused by elements like the first is wage cost, often known as wage-push inflation, which is the outcome of company increasing the price of their high-quality output in reaction to pay increases. For instance, firms may incur increased labor costs as a result of altering employment rules or raising the local minimum wage, which will subsequently be passed on the customer in the form of higher pricing. The second is the import price, also known as import push inflation, which is brought on by an increase in the price of imported complete goods and service. Intermediate commodities, raw materials. Indonesia's reliance on oil import makes function inward oil price inevitable. As a result, this will lead to increased manufacturing costs, which may raise the national price of goods and services. The latter is an increase in supplier earning, inflation driven by profit. The phenomenon referred to cost push inflation occurs when companies gain market share and are able to raise prices until they achieve meaningful profit. It occurs when businesses keep inventory, which raises price and causes a lack of goods. For example, on the graph from the element increase in supplier profit push inflation, it shows that in event of minus inflation caused by high production costs, the short-term aggregate supply curve will move to the left, creating SRA as 0 and SRA as 1 keyboard, which will raise the price level to P1 and lower the actual output to Y1.
Next is the impact of inflation in Indonesia for economy and social. For general knowledge, the COVID-19 virus enters Indonesia in March 2020. The same month, the government made its official announcement that affect economy and social. For economy, firstly is purchasing power, that as price rise, the value of money decrease. The next one is cost of living. Increased price for essential goods and services such as food, fuel, and housing can lead to a higher cost of living. And third one is export and import, that inflation can affect the competitive of a country exports. Next, social. First one is income distribution, that inflation can affect these different groups unequally. Second, workers may demand higher wages to keep up with rising price, leading a wages inflation. And lastly, savings, that a real value of savings diminishes with inflation if interest rates on savings account do not keep up pace with the inflation rate.
What is unemployment? Unemployment refers to the situation where individuals of working age who are capable and actively seeking employment are unable to secure suitable jobs. It serves as a metric to assess economic vitality within a nation, reflecting the number of individuals in the workforce who are willing to work but are currently jobless. Sources like Investopedia and Britannica define unemployment similarly as a measure of available labor resources not engaged in productive activities due to lack of suitable employment opportunities.
So, for the types of unemployment in Indonesia, there are 4 types of unemployment. The first one is the frictional unemployment. Frictional unemployment refers to short-term or temporary unemployment. This happens when someone enters the labor market to look for work or when someone leaves their job, either voluntarily or at their request, and it makes the workers be unemployment for a while. For the second is the structural unemployment. This arises when there is a mismatch between the skill of the workers and the needs of the employers. This happens due to the technological advancement, changes in consumer demand, or shift in economy. This type can be significant for Indonesia. So, the third one is the cyclical unemployment. This happened due to COVID-19 pandemic that leads to a significant increase in cyclical unemployment due to businesses closes or reduce and operations because of lockdown measures. In response, the Indonesian government has implemented the various stimulus measures such as direct cash transfer, subsidies for businesses, and increase on spending on healthcare. So the last one is the seasonal unemployment. The main source of the seasonal unemployment in Indonesia is the agricultural sector. This is because of more demand during the planting and harvest season. Nonetheless, many agricultural laborers experience unemployment during off-season.
People's perspectives are affected in Indonesia by the fact that a large number of the country's citizens lack formal education and skill set. This is due to the fact that having excellent education and abilities is essential for someone to be able to obtain employment effortless. As a result, unemployment will affect individuals. People without job also run the danger of homelessness, poor nutrition, anxiety, depression, suicide, and drug usage since they are unable to pay their rent or mortgage. Furthermore, the economic impact in Indonesia that result in the majority people having a lower standard of living include income loss from unemployment, which can have a negative influences on an individual or family quality of living. It may therefore be challenging to pay for needs like food, housing, and healthcare. We also examine the spread of COVID-19, which affect the economy and public health because it causes businesses to cut back on customer demand, which can lead to lower sales from the company as well as lower expenses, layoff, or in severe cases, and closure of the business. Next, there is the social impact that Indonesia experiences, which includes family hardship brought on by unemployment linked to the financial difficulties, which can lead to conflict and stress within families, which can lead to marital breakdown. Children from households where there is unemployment may also have limited access to housing, healthcare, and educational opportunities. Due to the financial desperation, many turn to criminal activity, which raises crime rate. Unemployment is also frequently linked to greater crime rates, since it results in a lack of basic requirement.
How does the government overcome the inflation issue in Indonesia? The first one is the monetary policy. Indonesian government put interest rate in order to make borrowing more expensive and hence decrease consumer spending and moderate inflation. Besides that, Indonesian governments also open market operations in order to manage the money supply. BI, also known as Bank Indonesia, may purchase or sell government securities. The way BI or Bank Indonesia can reduce inflationary pressure by absorbing surplus liquidity through the sale of securities. So, the second one is the fiscal policy. To manage inflation, Indonesia government have to modify the spending trend by cutting back on wasteful public expenditure. Besides that, Indonesia's government also adjusting a tax by reducing tax on essential goods can help keep their price stable. The last one is the subsidies and price control. Indonesia's government offering subsidies for necessities like food, gasoline, and utilities, so they can maintain price stability for this item. Other than that, Indonesia's government must implementing price control on essential goods in order to prevent sudden price spike.
There are three ways how government overcome the unemployment issue in Indonesia. First is economic recovery and job creation. The government is focusing on restoring economic growth to create job opportunities. This involves promoting labor-intensive investment, boosting public consumption, and supporting micro, small, and medium enterprise (MSMEs). The aim is to stimulate economic activities that can absorb a large number of workers. Next is vocational training and education. To create a more skilled and productive workforce, the government is reforming the vocational education and training system. This includes improving the social protection system and establishing a credible labor market information system to better match job seekers with employment opportunities. For the last one is long-term strategic plans. As part of its vision for a Golden Indonesia 2045, the government is also setting broader socio-economic targets. These include maintaining economic growth in the range 5.3% to 5.7%, reducing the poverty rate, and targeting the open unemployment rate to between 5% to 5.7% by 2024.
Okay, for the relationship between inflation and employment. According to short run and long run Phillips curve trade-off, the short run is a tool used by economists to demonstrate the inverse relationship between short-term unemployment and inflation. Next, the long run is vertical at the natural rate of unemployment, and the rate of inflation has no effect on it.
To conclude, Indonesia's economy faced serious problems from unemployment and inflation. In order to curb inflation, the government and the Bank Indonesia implement fiscal ABD monetary measures, which include modifying interest rates and overseeing subsidies.
That's all our group presentation. I hope you all can learn about inflation and unemployment macroeconomic problem in Indonesia. Thank you so much.